This book is an example of cinema and what did you expect. So basically, this I rented out at Derby Uni Library. Basically, I was looking for a book, and the feminist section has to be in this section that I was looking at anyway. And I happened to walk past this book. It sounded interesting, and I thought I'd get it. Again, it's from the feminist section. So if you didn't know my opinions, I think modern feminism is literally a stain on society. But this is not, we're not going to be talking about this. So going into this, I was kind of, a bit in the middle of it. So her commentary is like a modern day feminist. If you know what modern day feminist, you will know. So for me, as I was reading it, I was like, okay, she makes some good points. There's some good terminology. There's good points. She's supposed to be a doctor, but I mean, anyway, I question that is because she feels that mental health isn't a real thing. It gets, if this was written by any other person that wasn't a feminist, I probably would have enjoyed it. So this book to me is a bit of a shame. What made me DNF it, which I didn't think I'd ever DNF it, is when she brought religion into it, and it pees me off when people talk about things, especially if you claim to be like a doctor. I mean, she's not claimed that she is a doctor, but when you have that status and you have that power, if you're commenting, don't commenting on something which you don't know on about. And for me, it was kind of like she brought religion in it, and how the whole ideal of a woman, she was like, oh, it was made in, everyone looked at Mary and that sort of thing. And the fact that she said Mary's Palestine, just, it was like, no, first of all, she wasn't. And the ideal woman, it was actually created by God. I thought, you know what, I can't with this drivel. I actually can't. I could have just skipped that section, but I was like, I actually can't because I'm not really enjoying it anyway. So this book is a bit of a shame. Why I put the question mark over doctor is because some of the things she says is questionable. It could probably do more damage than good. So the idea of this book is more looking at people who deal with trauma, and they have. Well, she said it's not a mental health. There was one thing she said which it didn't even make any sense either really. But she was saying how because obviously we are well known that mental health can travel through the gene pool. If you've got a family member that suffers from mental health, you could possibly be susceptible to it. And she says, well, that's a load of rubbish because there's no exact gene and stuff like that. It's not rubbish. It's with research. Anyway, I don't know. Like, there was some sort of good points in it. It's just a shame she had to write it and it was nobody else because I couldn't gravitate to it. I really couldn't. And it's funny that I'm reviewing this after that woman who sing that Pink Pony Club, I don't even know her name, was on the Grammys red carpet half naked, and apparently that's liberating. But yeah, that's what modern feminism is. But I'm gonna try and give this woman grace and say, well, she doesn't really know any better. But don't comment on something you don't know anything about. You've literally just looked at like a what's it web page or whatever. It's just that was just the last straw for me anyway. But as I said, this book could have been good if it wasn't or she could have. It was just she insulted like all the psychiatrists as if, as what modern feminists do, they hate all men. Like it's all men, and it's just, it can be very damaging, and that was the last straw for me anyway. But a fun fact I didn't know actually, in I don't remember what century it was, they used to they used to get into people suffering from hysteria, which mostly women, to swallow metal, and then they would get like a magnet to kind of, as if to kind of like move up the, it's mad. It's mad. But as I couldn't really gel with this, unfortunately. I really couldn't. And again, it was my fault. It could have been worse. I could have brought it, but yeah, just nah. Don't really recommend this at all, unless you're using it for study. But honestly, no, not for me. Really, not for me.